Okay, I don't really know what to make about this. Tencent released some materials this week for Light of Motrium, and everybody has basically looked at it and said it's a Horizon Zero Dawn ripoff. And certainly, in terms of the aesthetic, let's just say it's very, very similar. I'm going to actually put a quick caveat on this before we continue. I remember back in 1990, I wrote one of my first ever video game reviews, and I just said, this game is a rip-off of another game. And the first thing I was told was, actually, that's a legally actionable statement, unless you could
Oh boy.
categorically prove it, which, would actually involve determining intent. So let's just say that Light of Motrium bears a lot of resemblances to Horizon Zero Dawn. And to the point where the key art looks very, very similar. The mechanized dinosaurs, well, it's not just the same concept, but the same execution. And yet, it's not a game like Horizon Zero Dawn. John, have you got any input on this?
Well, I'd like to start, Rich, by reminding everyone here, or bringing awareness to this, that this is a game that seems to embody what I call the four horsemen of the apocalypse of gaming. If you check out, it is four things. It's early access, survival, open world, crafting. When these forces combine, actually, I don't know if this will be open or early access, but I bet I wouldn't be surprised if it were. That's usually that's the four horsemen of the gaming apocalypse right there, and it seems like it's going to check off most of those boxes because it's like, what if Horizon Zero Dawn, but instead of a story, instead of characters, we just filled it with survival and crafting.
It is.
No, it's
Oh my god!
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's kind of like the lazy man's version of game design, where you don't actually have to make interesting encounters. You just make the player character make the encounters for themselves by having them have survival elements, which force them to interact with like minuscule gameplay. Yeah, I'm not.
No.
I think survival has its place, but it is an oft abused way to get gameplay into a game without designing much, actually. Sorry.
That's important to note, Alex, I think, because I think there are certainly cases for really interesting survival mechanics, and there are very well designed survival games out there, but it has become sort of it's become something of a crutch that allows it's a not a difficult thing to implement and do in a way that's not very good.
Right.
As well, which could be argued of many things, but with survival games it's especially egregious, I find. And in this case, I mean, more so, like, you look at something like Pow World and that felt like, but in reality, Power World played so distinctively different from, it was just an open world survival crafting game, right? Which no Pokemon game is. It is nothing like Pokemon. The characters and the designs were extremely similar, but the game itself was so drastically different. But when you look at these shots here, like, I wasn't sure if in this article that we're looking at here, if they were posting initially comparisons to Horizon or if they were all from the new game, but they're all from this new game, because it is like, this has to be one of the most egregious I've ever seen. Like, everything about this looks like this could be from Horizon versus Power World, where you look at it and you're like, okay, I mean, you know what they're going for, but it doesn't actually look exactly like Pokemon. This looks exactly like Horizon. Like, right down to like the tribal characters sitting around. Like, I can look at these and I'm like, oh, this bottom shot where they're sitting around like this little bucket of water by the sea. I'm like, oh yeah, that looks like that San Francisco area in Forbidden West. I recognize that spot, or the part in the snow, like all of these things. Yeah. Like, you can almost picture where this is at in Horizon, which is how close it is. But I guess the twist on this is that people seem to love this stuff. They love games that take other, sort of build on inspirations of other games, and then it finds success. Sometimes it works. Like, I remember when Genshin Impact was first announced, everybody's like, oh, it's just a Breath of the Wild ripoff. But in reality, it's kind of its own thing, and it's quite good in its own way. It definitely bears resemblance visually in many ways, but they created something genuinely good there. I would say Power World is still not actually very good. People just liked it because it was like a middle finger to Game Freak, and it had designs that people liked and such, but the game itself wasn't really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got
Jury's
to
out on this one.
apologize. I've got to apologize. It's actually Light of Motiram.
Light of Motiram.
Yeah, and I've just posted in the Discord chat here some actual gameplay, and surprise, surprise, it bears no relation whatsoever to Horizon Zero Dawn. It looks a lot more like Ark Survival Evolved. Funny
So
enough,
so this is the four horsemen of the gaming apocalypse.
In that aspect, yes. I mean, Ark.
Yeah,
Ark is the herald of the.
Okay,
apocalypse.
you know what? So this is fun. This gives me a moment to sort of touch on the power of the sort of carefully crafted bull shot, if you will, where the shots that were going around for this game look exactly like Horizon, but when you actually see the graphics here in game, this looks significantly worse than Horizon. Like this looks. The way it moves, the way it's lit, everything about it, you're like, okay, this looks like a bad mobile take on Horizon, where the other one looked technically competent in the screenshots. This doesn't actually look all that competent compared to Horizon. Like not at all, actually. Like it's got stiff animation, weird collision with the terrain. Nothing about the lighting or the environment is particularly good looking. It's just like very average, normal looking. It just looks like Unreal stuff.
Yeah, while you guys were chatting, I was just looking for video, right? First of all, I found the reveal trailer, which kind of looks like Horizon in a desert. And then I actually found this stream, 16 minutes of gameplay of Light of Motiram. And it's apparently this gameplay hails from the official account of Light of Motiram in China. And yeah, there do seem to be some Horizon-related beasts, mech beasts. However, the game just isn't really Horizon as I see it. There is a lot of it's a lot of Ark.
Why is everything got to be Ark, man? I was
talking
about this yesterday.
You stated.
Yeah, I know it's easy to implement, but I'm like, all these clones tend to be, the whole survival open world crafting games. Like, where's the arcade racers here? Like, something like, why not outrun coast to coast, but like actually coast to coast?
We have the technology. We can build it.
We have the technology. We can make that. But then you're right. That's harder to make versus this.
I mean, for some, like, and just in also building a world thing, you don't need as much cohesion. You don't even need to be making the assets like a coast to coast game with a consistent art style. You couldn't just grab from an asset store random palm tree necessarily.
You can't procedurally generate that and make it good.
Yeah, right. So there's a lot of reasons why this type of game design is so popular, especially for the early access for Horsemen of the Apocalypse, like you described.
If you skip ahead to 10 minutes and 5 seconds in that gameplay demo that I just sent you, check this out. This is riveting stuff.
Oh yeah.
There
it is.
I like the way the rock breaks apart, but yeah, it's like once the giant like pickaxe comes out and you just walk up to things and hold a button until more things come out.
Yep.
And a number too. Baby. Don't forget the number.
Crafting. The number, man.
So I'd say that there's a variety of let's be kind and call it inspirations.
Oh, look at the grass though.
Yeah, the tall grass, the sneak grass looks so much like the Horizon grass.
They got the sneak grass like right after they finished doing the or I guess the mining for materials or whatever. Then they hop on that mount and immediately cross through the Horizon stealth grass.
Yeah. And if we go ahead to 1252, we've got a boss. 1252 time code.
Exciting
there.
Times.
It's kind of like Mecha Gorilla.
Yeah. So
I mean, the thing is though, that artwork that they released on those screenshots, it is basically very, very. And maybe that's the point, reminiscent of Horizon, right down to having like the different biomes, the snow from Frozen Wilds. But then you look. I
got to give them credit here, though, Rich. Like boss stuff, like making bosses is pretty tough. So they actually seem to have done a competent job here with this boss, I would say. Like, that is not a trivial thing to implement.
No.
So that's cool.
Comparatively.
At least.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just mechanized dinosaurs here. We've moved on to mechanized primates as well.
Yeah, mechanized primates.
It's like,
Man, they should make a
Yeah,
Beast
it's-
Wars game. That's all I keep thinking about. John, Beast Wars.
I'd be into that. Did that never? I feel like
What if
it should have happened, but
what if it's Beast Wars with early access crafting?
Survival
open world
crafting, open
survival.
world. Maybe I should
Survival.
not wish for things. That's what I'm learning right now.
Gosh, I feel like, man, this is like open world survival crafting early access games feels like it's like that continuation of where you would get like the Smash arcade hit on your Amiga or your ZX Spectrum back in the day.
Oh yeah.
And then they show screenshots of the arcade game on the back and you pop it in. It's just, I mean, you know what it is, Rich.
Yeah.
It ain't the arcade game. It feels like that kind of bait and switch almost.